you know, it's a place where foreigners, have a certain liberty, for certain things compared to, like I said, I've been in India. It's not the same thing,
Wow.
So, yeah, I would say, it's been, I've spent 10 years here. That means something is happening.
Welcome to the Black Lives in the Philippines. On this series, we're going to be exploring the different Black experience and who they are and how they live their lives in the Philippines.
My name is Frank. I'm from Cameroon. I've been in the Philippines for 10 years.
So what drew you to the Philippines?
I came to the Philippines for work because I was basically working in India before.
Okay. So how long were you in India?
I stayed in India for about 4 years. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that means you have lots of experience staying in Asia.
Yeah, in Asia, yeah. I will say that we can say 14 years, yeah.
Okay. Alright, so what are your goals in the Philippines?
My goals in the Philippines?
Yeah.
Well, everything about, my goals have been always driven by work, and is basically make sure that I grow, in terms of career-wise, and as much as possible, develop, contribute on the development of some of my, African brothers and sisters which are working with me and maybe which are not working with me, by impacting, their life in different ways. So I think basically those are my goals.
Prior to coming to the Philippines,
okay,
did you have any concern, like since you transferred from India, were you skeptical about the Philippines?
Well, not really, because for some of us who went to India, I think we pretty much had a taste about being out of your country already. So you kind of mentally prepare, to whatever might come your way, wherever you go. So I didn't have any, but I already knew that Philippines is a place where foreigners are, mostly welcome. It's an open country and everything. Yeah.
When you came here, did you feel that there was a stereotype attached to your skin color?
Not really, but obviously, when you're African, you're not like others, races, and people tend to sometimes, look at you differently. But I always took it like it depends on how you carry yourself, It's what you put out there that, people gonna judge, and how they're gonna, approach you, or how they're going to interact with you. So yeah, so basically we already know that whenever you leave your country, there is a sort of type of discrimination, favoritism, which for me at some point it makes sense, because even me, if I'm in my country and I'm in this position where I need to give a position to someone, I'll first check the locals, if there is someone who can do this. So like I said, at the end of the day, it's how you carry yourself, yeah, but I never really felt like that much. Yeah.
So far your 10 years in the Philippines, how has it been? How's the experience been in the Philippines?
Well, experience in the Philippines, I would say, compared to other countries that I visit, here in Asia, the first thing is Filipino are, they're friendly, but you're not going to deny the fact that there are certain Filipino also that, are somehow not really into embracing other races, maybe based on their education or their background. But as a whole, I would say Filipino are friendly, and it's a place where foreigners, have a certain liberty, for certain things compared to, like I said, I've been in India. It's not the same thing,
Wow.
So yeah, I would say, it's been, I've spent 10 years here. That means something is happening.
When you came to the Philippines, what's the worst thing that's happened to you as an African, as a black?
Well, the worst thing that happened to me, how am I going to say this? This is kind of hard though. Well, I'll say, for example, there was one of the company where I started working here, and because back in India I was a manager, so when I introduced myself as a manager in that specific company, the interviewer was like looking at me like maybe I'm not at that level, maybe I'm not that worth, to be at that level. But as the conversation went along, that's the time that he realized that, yeah. So, but for me, I felt like, in the first hand, yeah, something like that.
Okay.
But that, I'll say, yeah, that part, yeah.
Was there a situation where your race saved you, like you being a black person? Was there a situation where it helped or saved?
You mean here in the Philippines?
Yeah, here in the Philippines.
Well, honestly, I never experienced something like that. Yeah.
Alright. What about back in India? Has it helped to save your race?
Well, in India, since I also play soccer. So I remember, because I started in India, I started with school. All right. So it's only after school that I start working. So I was playing in the soccer team of the college back then, and I was the only African in the team. And I think it's just because of that they accepted me in the team, they were kind of curious, like, let's see
what he can do,
what this guy can put on the table. And they were also curious about some soccer player from Cameroon, which are very famous, like Roger Mila. So they were like, maybe this guy is playing like that guy. So
okay.
Yeah, I think that was something that helped me, to join that team. Yeah.
So far, what's the worst advice you've given here in the Philippines?
Well, I won't say advice because I've been my own man for a very long time already. I'm not saying that I'm not taking advice from people, but especially for the question that you're asking.
Yeah.
You should first of all know what you want, whenever you're coming to a place. I would say, to answer that question, that the people that you're around with, might have either a good influence or bad influence around you. And whenever we go abroad, there are different backgrounds. People come from different purposes. And I would say that, you just have to make sure that you have people around you that look forward to whatever brought you to the country.
Will you come back to the Philippines if you have the opportunities to come back?
Oh yeah, definitely. Somewhere where you spend 10 years,
It's definitely a second home.
Yeah, it's almost half of your life,
Yeah.
So yeah, Philippines, yeah, definitely I will.
So what's your view on raising your own family here in the Philippines?
Ooh, well, that's a tricky question. I would say it depends. It depends on the situation. There are people who come here, for example, from back home with their girlfriend or with their fiance from Africa. If they spend 10 years like me, you agree with me that at some point they will have a kid, or maybe they will get married.
Yeah.
And depending on what they do, for example, if they're working, yeah, they will have to raise their kid here. But in my own opinion, I need to think about, you know, the future of my kid. Does it fit the country? You know, because personally, I don't think that for me, I want to raise my kids, my family here. You know, because also my plan is not to settle here. All right, so this is something that you need to consider before trying to build a family.
Do you feel that the Filipinos are ready for foreigners, like most especially the blacks? Do you feel they are ready to accept them fully into their culture, into their community?
Yeah, I would say yes. You know, compared to the time I came here, back in 2011, it wasn't like it is now. For example, now there is a lot of mixed couple. It just means that, you know, that culture is embracing the African culture. So I see a lot of, you know, a couple, a lot of kids, you know. So that just itself, it's, you know, it's an improvement. And talking about the work environment, when I just started in the company where I work now, they were just like 8 African, but now it's more than 200. You know, so yeah.
In view of what you've experienced, right, would you advise a black person to come to this country?
Well, again, this will depend on what the person is coming here to do. If someone is coming here for, I can tell more about studies, but I know some schools where if you have a scholarship, I mean, you're gonna have a good education. For example, LaSalle, Ateneo, or stuff like that. But those are high class, college. But when it comes to work, first of all, you need to know how to speak English. And for French-speaking people, they need to know how to speak English, because to work here, you have to make sure you communicate and you write proper English, because most of the training, most of the management team are speaking English. So yeah, I will advise someone who wants to look for a job, especially in the BPO field. And for studies, yes, because I've seen a lot of students here who were able to finish their school and be graduated. Yeah.
How long are you planning to stay in the Philippines? Like forever or not?
I already spent 10 years. I know that I said earlier that I wasn't planning to spend 10 years in the first place. But, we always reach a point where we feel like, yeah, it's time to, to move on, I think for me personally, I won't say the number of years, just to be, practical. But I would say that I don't have much, to spend here, in the Philippines again. So
what's your view on racism in the Philippines, and how do you compare it with all your stays in Asia? How do you view racism in general?
Well, I will say that Philippines is better, compared to the countries that I've been before. Here, at least, there are some other places where you can't even ask direction. The person is not even going to respond. But here, they will proactively even approach you, on the street. So I think it's a place where if you know how to fit in, you will feel comfortable. If you know your boundaries, you will feel comfortable. So I think it's better compared to other countries in Asia.
So what's your general view on the Philippines? General view?
Personal general view, I'd say Philippines is fun. It's just fun.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a true fact, when you see a country where there are a lot of foreigners who are coming in, and most of them are coming for vacation, for pleasure and everything. So yeah, I would say in general it's a fun place to be. Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe and click the bell button for more notifications.